So you've just decided you are going to get your pool resurfaced. Major investment, fantastic investment in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
New pools, new surfaces, they all look gorgeous. You've got some with pebbles in them that have got just these absolutely gorgeous reflections and refractions coming back. But you need to know this going in. You need to know that there is going to be a setup period at the end of your pool resurface, right?
Correct.
Setup period. We have it. We talk about this on our website, docdeanspools.com. If you want to go over there and check that out. In my opinion, it's the most important thing to making sure you get the surface that you want and the surface that you want for the next 10 years.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
The setup, as we detail on our website, is a 7-day process that begins the instant the pool is filled up. Right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. Well, the pool gets plastered. The guys trowel and polish, get it all finished up. Then we do a water wash system where we will wash down the entire surface of the pool as it's curing with hand brushes and just water. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get some longevity out of the pool finish. The manufacturers give you typically a 10-year limited warranty. We want these pools to go longer than 10 years.
Absolutely.
And we want them to look good for longer than 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you maintain it and you do everything right, you're going to get longer than 10 years out of the pool surface. You absolutely will. So as I said, the guys trowel the pool, they go in there with water, they water wash it, they scrub it all down with hand brushes, the entire surface of the pool. Then all of that water and all of that, it's called cream. It's the first coat of the plaster that actually reveals the colour. We dump that water out, plug up the pools, throw in the hoses and start to fill the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Now the processes are that the surface of the pool cures underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking for that thing to be drying as it's full of water.
It's ironic, it dries when it's wet.
Yeah, absolutely. The only difference to that is actual pebble finishes and coloured finishes. What we actually do with a coloured pool is we will hand wash it down completely with the brushes, and then we leave it for 24 hours to actually set up in the sun. We've discovered that that's a far better method of curing the surface than filling a coloured pool with water and then doing the startup procedure after.
Right, and when we say coloured pool, we're talking about the actual cement itself having pigment in it, right? We aren't talking about like, I've got like a pebble tech finish, or I've got this sunstone which just has like, I don't know, like black and green and maybe blue in there, right?
No, we're talking about the colour of the actual Portland cement. And because all of the products are Portland cement based with either pebble or crystal or glass bead or crushed mother of pearl, anything you want into the pool to make it reflect and give you back the texture and the finish that you want to look at. But it's actually physically the colour of the Portland cement. 99% of pools that are getting plastered are white Portland cement with different colour crystals that give you a different effect.
Mm-hmm.
There are those that will have a pale blue colour like this. There'll be blacks. There'll be like really deep blues. But as we're going to be talking about just a white
standard white Portland cement finish.
Portland cement finish.
So while the water is filling up the bottom like 2 feet of water, we're going to put in a chemical called Startup Tech, and this is going to do what's called sequest the water. Now, that's a fancy word that I'm sure most of you don't know. Tell me what sequest means.
It means that any metal minerals or anything contained within the water in the filling up process is held in suspension in the water. It's not going to attach itself to the surface of the pool. Mm-hmm. Again, because being here in Florida, we can't guarantee the water quality. It's kind of crazy. We live on an island peninsula almost, and we can't guarantee the water quality. There is so much water here, yet we cannot guarantee the quality.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of minerals and stuff in the water that we really don't want to attach to the side of a pool. You're adding water, you're adding metal minerals, and you're adding calcium carbonate. What we don't want is that calcium carbonate attaching itself to the surface of the pool.
Right.
And the reason being, we want the moisture that's in that plaster, because it's going to be anywhere up to 1 inch thick on the surface of the pool. You've got 1 inch thick of plaster underwater trying to dry. Now, it will create its own heat and it will drive the moisture out of the product and it will drive it into the physical pool. But as it gets into the pool, it can solidify and put a calcium layer on the surface of the pool. So it's really important that we get that calcium off. And that's why one reason we put in the startup tech, and we brush it every single day for 7 days, and using acids knocking down the alkalinity pH.
Right, yeah. So we're going to put in the startup tech. It's going to basically stop anything from attaching to this pool surface. I know in some areas like Windermere, Florida, we got huge issues with iron.
Yes.
Right? If you live in Windermere, Florida, just look down the side of your house. If you got giant orange streaks, you have iron.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to use this to prevent any kind of attachment to the surface. When we fill up the pool, it also has to fill continuously up to the tile. At no point can we stop it, right?
No.
If we stop it, what's going to happen?
You're going to get a hydration line. You'll get to the point where the water level got to and sat, and above that line will dry, below that line will be wet. And then once you start filling again, you will always have that wet line. So it's really important that you do a continual fill.
Okay.
And then once we have the continual fill and the pool is full, we can then commission the pool system. No chlorines, remove all chlorines from feeders and tanks and anything. We don't want any chemistry in that water other than the startup tech. And then daily we will monitor the pH and alkalinity. Okay.
So pool's now filled. We've had the startup tech in it. It's been probably 24 hours since we put the hose in. You know? What do we do next? We're going to put on the system for a 24-hour run, right? For a few days?
Yes.
How many days? Like 3?
3 to 4 days typically you'll run it.
And we're going to clean the filter every single day, right?
Yes.
Right. In addition, we're also going to brush.
Not every single day. You can, every couple of days you want to clean the filter.
So we're going to stay on top of our filter cleaning. We're just going to make sure that there's consistent flow getting through there. I guess it rather depends on the size of the filter, right?
Yeah.
So if you got like a 40,000 gallon pool, and for whatever reason you have a 100 square foot filter, you're going to need to clean that a lot, aren't you?
Yeah, but you're going to, if that's the situation, you're going to be used to cleaning that a lot anyway.
Right. So it's full, clean the filter. It's on a 24-hour run for 3, maybe 4 days. We're also going to brush every single surface of the entire pool once a day, right?
Yes.
Preferably more often if you could.
If you can, yeah, get in there and do it as often as you can.
Right. From doing this, what's going to happen is you're going to notice the water clouds up a whole lot. What's going to be causing this water to cloud up?
It's just the finish curing. It's the fact that it's still a white Portland cement. So if you have new cement, if you lay down new tiles, you'll always see that there's always that layer of dust and debris. And it's just a case of we constantly got to keep brushing that and getting that up. It's just part of construction. It's something you accept when you doing building work.
Yeah. So we've got these are the physical aspects, and we're going to do that for the full 7 days. You're going to brush it at least once a day, every day for 7 days, right?
Yes.
You're going to have the filter going on a 24-hour run for 3, maybe 4. What do we do chemically? You already touched on that we aren't going to add any chlorine to this,
right,
which I'm sure scares some people to death.
Right.
What are we going to do then, chemically?
Addressing the chlorine situation, as we did this in a previous video. The only reason we have chlorine in the pool is a sanitizer. So for the first 7 days, you're excluded from the pool anyway. So nobody can swim. So we don't need sanitizers in the pool. They play no part. So what we do is we're actually going to control the alkalinity and the pH. What we want to do is we want to keep them relatively what we call hot. We're going to run them hot. At this point, obviously, we need to know that there are no heaters that have copper heat exchangers like gas heaters, or if there are, we'll have bypassed those. Or if it's an up-to-date installation, there will be valves that we can shut off different areas of the system. Because all we really want to use is the pool body, the pump, and the filter. The water really doesn't have to circulate through any other component on the system.
Right.
So we're going to limit that water to going through as much of the system as we possibly can, because what we're going to do is we're going to run the pool what we call hot. So we're going to have a pH of under 7.2. We want it low, which makes the water aggressive. Now, if we run that water through a heater that has a copper heat exchanger, unfortunately, we're going to start stripping copper elements out of that heater. That will be held in suspension in the pool. It will stay there until such time as we then start adjusting chemistry back to where it needs to be. And then those metal products will then plate themselves onto the walls of the pool. So you have to be very, very careful. It is a very, very delicate process. That's the startup tech method. We have two different methods we use. One's the startup tech that we just discussed. And that's done, the pool plasterers do their job and then they inform us when the pool starts to fill. If we can get there quick enough and early enough, we will use the startup tech method, because you want to put the startup tech in the water at around about 200, 300 gallons of water. Any more than that, it's not the preferred method for us to cure a pool. What we'll do in that case is we'll allow the pool to fill up completely, and then we'll add Jack's Magic Magenta. Now, Jack's Magic Magenta is it's a calcium grabber. It's a sequestriant, but it's also a calcium grabber. And our enemy right now, as we plaster this pool, when we finish it off, is calcium. That's the thing that's going to determine whether the pool has any longevity or whether it's going to look kind of streaky and patchy. So calcium is not our friend at this point. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we brush that pool, get that calcium up into the water. That's another reason it clouds, is because of that calcium content, and allow that filter to filter it out. But as I say, if we can't get there quick enough, we'll fill it completely. Then we'll put the magenta in and start up the pool, but go through exactly the same processes. Because we don't do anything to the pool until it is completely full. And then we follow the same processes for both methods.
So for us, our two methods include all the same physical processes.
Yes.
The only real difference is the timing. Can we get the startup tech to the place at the right time? If we can't, we will use the magenta.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. In review, so if you skip to this point, because undoubtedly I'll put like a marker in here for all of you to skip towards, so because we went into a lot of detail here. Setup process, things you need to know. You need to know the setup process before you get your pool resurfaced, because you need to know either what to do yourself, or you need to know to ask your plastering company, the contractor, whomever it may be, if they're going to do it. For us, the way we recommend, and the way that we've been doing it for years with great success, is we're going to put the hose in immediately after the pool has been hand scrubbed and hand washed. Correct. We're going to fill it all the way up. While it's filling, we're going to put in a startup tech chemical. We're going to put it on the system on a 24-hour run, directing the water only through the pump and the filter. We're going to do that for 3 or 4 days. Then we're going to take it down to maybe 12 hours for the last 2 or 3. We also have to do what we call running the pool hot, which is where we're going to put acid in the pool, knock the pH and the alkalinity quite low. The reason we're going to do that is because it stops metals and other different minerals, calcium, from trying to bond to the surface. And we're going to brush the pool every single day, every single surface. The steps, the face of the steps, the floor, around the tile. We're going to brush absolutely everything to keep anything that could potentially be trying to join onto that surface, blow it up into the water so that the filter can pull it out and filter out, right?
That's correct, yep.
And then after the 7 days, you should be good to swim. This has been episode number 2 of Tech Talk, presented by Doc Dean's Pools with Mike and James. Check us out at docdeanspools.com. We're going to be uploading all kinds of stuff. Check us out on Instagram as well. We'll have all the links in the description for everything. Let us know if there's anything that you want us to talk about.